So my name is Szymon Drobezgiewicz. I work in farm from the 1 year. I started here work because I was changing the plans concerning my future. Before that I was working in archaeology in Poland and in UK, but the work in archaeology wasn't it didn't suit me, so I was looking for something in the informatics, and I met my friend from the children years, and he told me just to maybe to try to do some game work, and came here to Gliwice from Krakow and started to work with people like Marcin and Cyprian, Przemek, Błażej, Bartek, and they showed me everything, how to do it properly, how to have fun from this, and I'm really keen of it to produce the games like this. So the new Painkiller that we are doing now is using the levels from the original game, but they are a little bit reshaped, so we can use the full extent of the Unreal Engine and show the full potential of this engine. So this looks very good, especially if we are using the three-dimensional technology. And playing this game is very nice in this three-dimensional view. We'll wait a little bit to start it. And I need to have a code because it's very hard level. There's a lot of shooting here. All enemies are running at you. You don't have a time to think a lot. You need to be very quick and work a lot of strategies just to avoid them. As you see, this looks a little bit like Star Wars for now, but we'll change it. What to say more? I think that this idea to create the three-dimensional Painkiller will be very good for the players who will see how we can change old games into new ones without changing a lot in the gameplay. So, for example, I can say that most of the levels from the original will be here, like factory, where you need to find treasures, fighting the enemies at the post-industrial area. There will be a cemetery where you need to make your way through the waves of the enemies. There will be also the big monsters in the Gothic Cathedral where you need to find your way around these big monsters. There will be also the nice looking level. It will be something like the Second World War train station where you need to catch a train and fight the enemies during that. Also we have a little bit strange level concerning the laboratory. You will go there and just observe how the terrible experiments, genetic experiments are made on the other creatures, and you will just try to avoid them and end the level. So I think that the old design with the new three-dimensional graphic and some of the custom actions that we are adding with Martin, who was sitting here, will be a very good idea for the new players who haven't seen the Painkiller earlier. And I guess it will be hard to win it on the hardest level, because as you see they are shooting all the time and I cannot kill them all for the 2 minutes. The artificial intelligence of our opponent is much better than in the original game. And people from the programs are working on it to make it even more harder. So for me, it's a very good fun to, just watch the old game, how it changes the shape into something new, plays new actions with Martin, and just play it all the time, checking for the bugs and such a things from time to time. Because I'm new, I'm making some mistakes still, so I need to, fix them. And this is a very good lesson how to just change the old game into something that could be very fun. I haven't played the Painkiller earlier, so it was very new for me. And I see that the shooting games from the old times that I was just avoiding, they were fun. And it was my mistake to not play them. And now I feel very good. You can see here that we've got static meshes already. These are all the objects that are surrounding the scene of the level. So all the walls, all the buildings, conveyors, something from landscape like trees. These are static meshes that we don't use too much in the gameplay. More important are things like, for example, spawn points where we are placing the enemies. This is how the spawn point looks like. You can go to the properties of this and change some numbers in it. So how much enemies you want to spawn from this point, in which time do you want to separate them into groups or what? You can also choose which kind of opponent you want to spawn from this point. For now we've got about 20 of enemies to choose. It's a lot of for now. So for the last 6 months we were just populating all these levels from the with the spawn point, with the things like destroyable objects which you can shoot and they are just blowing into the air. We are pasting lights so player can see everything in the better light. I can show you how the path looks like. This green area shows the place where the pawns, the opponents, can walk without the troubles. The red area shows where they cannot go. So it's very obvious for us where we can fight with the opponent in all this green area. Here, for example, these objects will be destroyed after shooting, and after that, opponents and we can walk through this area without the problems. A little bit harder is with the steps because they are creating the barriers that most of spawns cannot walk. So we need something like, like how to say, slope, so they can walk slightly, or create our own steps. And it's not the best view, but there are good paths here. So you can see that we've got green path here. It took me about half an hour to create it on these not too good stairs. Okay, so this is how the work looks like. First we are placing static meshes like buildings, big objects, landscape. Then we are trying to populate the whole level with the spawn point where our opponents will show. Then we are trying to place a little bit of help for the player, like ammunition. Where we have here ammunition. Oh, maybe I will show something different than ammunition. I will show you the armor. It's hard to catch because first the player must find the way through the waves of enemies, walk here and use the ladder to climb on it and find this armor who will help him to defend against the bullets and other attacks. So mostly this is all that I'm doing. I'm trying to, after all this is done, I'm trying to just clear the paths for the pawns so they won't stuck in the, for example, tree, or they won't stuck here, jumping from this step. I'm trying to the clear path so they will see me everywhere, because the pawns they've got something like a range of view. If you are off of this green place, they cannot see you. So, for example, if the player will jump here, pawns won't see him. That's why we are doing this big balustrade, so players cannot walk here, because in this case pawns will be blind. This kind of item shows the pylons which are responsible for the path that we are creating.